Hey everyone, and welcome back to the From Brokenness to Fullness podcast. I'm Jeanith Padilla, and today we are continuing our Made New series with a message that I believe can change the way you see yourself forever. Today's episode is called Your Identity is Not Your Past. And honestly, I think this is something many people desperately need to hear. Because so many of us have spent years allowing our past to tell us who we are. Maybe you've said things like, I'm not good enough. I'm so damaged. I'm a failure. I'm too broken. I'm too far gone. Or maybe you don't say those words out loud, but you live as if they're true. The truth is, many of us unknowingly build our identity around our wounds, our mistakes, our disappointments, and the labels other people have placed on us. And eventually, we begin living beneath who God created us to be. Have you ever noticed how quickly we introduce ourselves through the roles or our roles and experiences? Like, I'm a nurse, I'm a mother, I'm a business owner, I'm successful, I'm struggling, I'm anxious, I'm overwhelmed. And while those things may describe parts of our lives, they do not define our identity. They are roles. They are experiences. They are chapters. But they are not who we are. And I think that's where many people get stuck. We confuse what happened to us with who we are. Maybe you failed, but that doesn't make you a failure. Maybe someone rejected you. That doesn't make you unlovable. Maybe you've struggled. That doesn't make you weak. Maybe you've made mistakes, but that doesn't make you worthless. What happened to us is part of our story, but it is not our identity. And if the enemy can get you confused about your identity, he can keep you living far beneath your calling. That's why identity is always under attack. Think about Adam and Eve. The serpent questioned what God had said. Think about Jesus in the wilderness. One of the things, or one of the first things Satan attacked was his identity. He said, "If you are the Son of God," yeah, because the enemy understands something many people don't. Confused people struggle to walk confidently in God's purpose. When you don't know who you are, you become vulnerable to every opinion, every criticism, every comparison, and every circumstance. You begin looking outward to determine your worth. And that's exhausting. For years, I think I tied much of my identity to achievement. I wanted to accomplish things. I wanted to succeed. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to provide for my family. And while none of those desires are wrong, I eventually realized something. My identity had become attached to what I did instead of who I belonged to. I was finding value in being productive, in being useful, in being needed, in being successful. But God began teaching me something powerful. My identity is not RN. My identity is not coach. My identity is not podcaster. My identity is not wife. My identity is not mother. Those are beautiful roles God has entrusted to me, but they are not my identity. At my core, I am first and foremost a child of God, and everything else flows from there. Ephesians chapter 1 paints a beautiful picture of who we are in Christ. We are chosen. We are adopted. We are redeemed. We are forgiven. We are loved. We are accepted. We are God's workmanship. Think about that. The Creator of the universe calls you chosen. Yet many people continue calling themselves rejected. God calls you forgiven. Yet many people continue calling themselves guilty. God calls you redeemed. Yet many people continue introducing themselves by their mistakes. The cross settled your worth. You don't have to keep proving yourself. You don't have to earn God's love. You don't have to hustle for your value. You don't have to perform for acceptance. Jesus already paid the highest price imaginable for you. Romans 8:1 says, "There is therefore no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus." No condemnation, not less condemnation. No condemnation. That means your worst moment does not have the final word. Your biggest mistake does not have the final word. Your past does not have the final word. God does. And maybe today, someone listening needs permission to stop carrying labels that Jesus already died to remove. Stop introducing yourself by what Jesus redeemed. Stop calling yourself what God no longer calls you. Stop allowing your past to define what God is transforming. Your wounds may explain you, but they do not define you. Your past may have shaped parts of your journey, but it does not determine your future. Because in Christ, my friend, you are a new creation. And one of the most beautiful things about understanding your identity is that identity changes behavior. Now you don't obey God to earn his love. You obey because you are already loved. You don't pursue holiness to gain acceptance. You pursue holiness because you've already been accepted. You don't serve because you're trying to prove your worth. You serve because you know your worth has already been established by Christ. Everything changes when identity comes first. So today, I want to ask you, what labels are you still carrying? What names have you accepted that God never gave you? What part of your past are you allowing to define your future? And what would happen if you truly began seeing yourself the way God sees you? Because freedom begins when you stop believing lies about who you are. And transformation accelerates when your identity becomes rooted in Christ. Thank you so much for being here today. And if this episode encouraged you, share it with someone who needs this reminder too. Next episode, we are going to expose some of the lies that keep people small, stuck, and spiritually defeated. I love you guys. And remember, you are not your past. You are who God says you are. And Jesus doesn't just improve lives, he makes people new. I love you. and God bless. Bye for now.